In the autumn of 1888, the narrow fog-choked streets of Whitechapel, London, became the stage for an unfolding nightmare. Gas lamps flickered weakly against the damp mist, casting long shadows over overcrowded slums where poverty and desperation ruled every corner. Families crammed into crumbling lodging houses, and the air carried the cries of the forgotten, women and children scraping by on whatever work the harsh Victorian world allowed. It began in the early hours of August 31st. Mary Ann Nichols, a 43-year-old mother of 5 whose life had unraveled through heartbreak, alcoholism, and abandonment, was found dead in the gloom of Bucks Row. Her throat had been brutally slashed twice, and her abdomen savagely mutilated, a silent, horrifying announcement that something evil now stalked these streets. The second tragedy. Just 8 days later, on September 8th, the terror struck again. Annie Chapman, a fragile 47-year-old widow weakened by tuberculosis and crushed by destitution, was discovered in the grim backyard of 29 Hanbury Street. Like Mary Ann, her throat was cut deep, her body mutilated in the same chilling pattern, another life stolen in the cold dawn. These were not random women to those who knew them. They had once held dreams, loved ones, and small hopes now drowned in the relentless grind of poverty. As news of the murders spread through the alleys, taverns, and common lodging houses, fear took root. Whispers of a single monster grew louder, and a permanent mist of dread settled over Whitechapel. September 30th arrived under a shroud of tension, the city already on edge. As night fell over the East End, the streets emptied earlier than usual, doors bolted tight, and wary eyes peered from windows. Yet for those with nowhere safe to go, the darkness offered no protection. In Dutfield's yard off Berner Street, Elizabeth Stride, a gentle 44-year-old Swedish immigrant who had endured the loss of her husband and children in tragedy, was found with her throat freshly slashed. The cut was clean but incomplete. Perhaps the killer had been disturbed, forced to flee before completing his gruesome ritual. Mere streets away in the shadowed corner of Mitre Square, Catherine Eddowes lay discovered under the faint gaslight. This 46-year-old woman, separated from her family and worn down by hardship and drink, had suffered horrors beyond imagination, her body eviscerated in a frenzy of violence that shocked even seasoned officers. The police response. Panic exploded across London. Hundreds of police officers, led by Inspector Frederick Aberline, flooded Whitechapel. House-to-house searches began immediately, thousands of residents were questioned, and experimental bloodhounds were brought in to track any lingering scent. Yet in the maze of anonymous crowds and hidden courtyards, the killer slipped away once more. November brought colder nights and heavier fear. Weeks had passed since the double event, but the terror lingered. Patrols increased, rewards were posted, and undercover officers disguised themselves as locals. Still, the streets of Dorset Street remained a place of quiet desperation. On the morning of November 9th, in a tiny, dimly lit room at 13 Miller's Court, the landlord's assistant forced open the door and froze in horror. Mary Jane Kelly, only 25 years old and once described as bright and pretty, lay on her bed, her body mutilated beyond recognition in the most savage attack of all. Unlike the others killed quickly in open air, Mary Jane's murder had unfolded within the fragile safety of her own rented room. The killer had taken his time, turning 4 small walls into a chamber of unimaginable cruelty, a final, explosive act that marked the climax of the nightmare.